Hello, hello. Welcome to this webinar with Turnkey Technologies and FYIsoft today. I'm Luke Caldwell. I'm on the marketing team here at Turnkey, and today we're joined by Chris Dean and Prescott Hathaway from FYIsoft. And I will go ahead and pass it off to them, and we're glad you could join us here today.
Yeah, we appreciate you all joining. We'll keep it to 30 minutes here. I'm assuming that everybody can see my screen, but someone raise your hand if you can't. So let's go ahead and roll in. To start off here, just from our agenda, we're going to talk about the problem that we solve as you're moving on to Business Central or moving to the cloud. The customer experience as you're doing that. There's a lot of different tools out there, and we have a few different experiences and things we've come across as we've seen that. And then how to assess fit if this tool makes sense for you so that you know whether or not it makes sense to reach out and have a conversation with us. A little bit about our technology, how the data moves, and then we'll spend half of the time in a demo. So we're actually going to show it to you. And then we'll have Q&A at the end, depending on how much time we have left. All right, so first of all, the overall problem we solve is that management reporter is obviously sort of a casualty of everything moving into Business Central. So as folks are moving, they have to learn about finding a new reporting tool that they can use. And the problem is you know Management Reporter, you like Management Reporter. Maybe some of the things if you don't like about it, it just has to do with it being legacy technology they haven't invested in. But for the most part, your reporting processes are easy and efficient. And really this framework of rows, columns, and trees way of building reporting has actually been around since 1980 when FRX started. So really Excel came around in 1985. So this is really a tried and true way of building out reports. It combines flexibility and automation. It can be self-served by a finance professional. So you're losing a lot here, especially as you're moving to a new ERP. So it's really like the rug has just been ripped out from under you as you move to Business Central and you lose access to Management Reporter. And there's a lot of options for reporting tools when you do make that move. And we talked to a lot of customers who have made the transition, some with other tools initially. So the first example, we're going to go through 3 examples of customers who have made the move to the cloud and their experience with the reporting piece of that. So the first example is a company called Andretti Kart, or Andretti Karting and Games. They have a number of locations, throughout the country. But they first moved to an Excel-based competitor to do the reporting when they moved to BC. And in their words, it was a huge struggle. The software wasn't easy to learn. It was difficult to produce reports or change any of the reports on their own. They pretty much had their first couple of months of reports built out for them, but then when it came time for them to make those changes, they just weren't able to. It was too challenging. So their CFO searched and ended up finding us, and their entire team was really happy, and we'll kind of share that in a little bit. But another example of a customer who made the move to Business Central and initially was presented with a different Excel-based reporting tool, and they found that it was really complicated. There's a significant learning curve, and there was a lot of manual work and spreadsheets involved in just getting the report to do what they needed it to. Okay, this third example, their consultant actually went and they found us. The minute he saw it, he knew it was the right solution. And that's the same experience we see with a lot of people as they are looking to move to Business Central and looking at the reporting tools. They see ours. It looks very familiar, really like a modern version of Management Reporter. So, why do our customers love FYIsoft? First of all, there's no learning curve, right? So it's going to use that same rows, columns, and trees framework that the predecessors that used going way back to the 1980s. That framework is really intact. So a lot of the reporting tools in the space are hard to adopt, and there's customers like we saw that either give up on it or forced to continually pay for different consulting services anytime they want to alter or create a new report. So second of all, there's a no pain migration. So you may be thinking, well, if I already know how to use it, then it should be easy to rebuild my reports. Well, that's true, but you actually don't need to rebuild your reports. We will be providing, we have a conversion tool that can automatically convert those reports, okay? So you simply upload your reporting catalog and our conversion tool will do the conversion for you so that you have your reports ready to go and you know how to make any changes because you've already used the tool. And then finally, it's not like we just took that technology and then have just are using the same thing that was around 10 years ago. We've continued to enhance and add on to it. Obviously, we've moved it to the cloud and continue to incorporate feedback from our customers. All right, so how do you know if this is a good fit for you? First of all, if you're a former management reporter user, then you definitely should at least just take a look at it. Even if there's things that you didn't like about Management Reporter, it may be that those things have to do with that it wasn't really invested in for the last 10 years and just kind of got a little stale. So we've probably fixed those things and taken the things you liked and also added some things to it. All right, and really where these tools, even going back to the FRX days, were very valuable is when you have multiple companies or multiple dimensions that you need to report over. So we have a way to automate that process and have you run one time and send all the reports out to the right people across all of these dimensions, all of these entities without having to run each one separately. And then finally, if you type of person that likes to self-serve, be self-reliant, don't want to rely on your IT team or don't want to rely on an external party to do the reporting for you, this is a tool that you really like, similar to its predecessors. All right, so one of my favorite things about working here is just the comfort that we bring to finance and accounting professionals when they're going through this change of a new ERP. And so it's difficult enough to do an ERP migration. We talk to people in the middle of them all the time. But then to also add on an unfamiliar reporting tool it's just even more to adapt to. So we really love to show them something that immediately gives them a sense of comfort at a time where they really need it. So we talked about Andretti karting. This is kind of the quote after moving to FYIsoft. So if you're a former management reporter or FRX user, FYIsoft is the reporting software you're going to want to go with. There's no pain in the transition. This is another company, Plume Markets. You may have seen them. They may be in your area. They're also a client of ours, but they just comment again that it's almost a mirror image of Management Reporter. And so if you're looking to replace it and you just want to enhance that, and this is a great option for you. And then this is the Springer Health company that was the second example we gave that tried an Excel-based competitor first. And they just commented on the report generation and distribution being even better than Management Reporter and just made the entire process so much easier, reduced reporting time by at least 50%. All right, there's a lot of other client stories we could go into. These are some of our other clients. We will hold off on that because we want to keep moving here and then make our way over into the demo. So just a little bit about our technology. We're built on a Microsoft stack. We're designed to work with Microsoft to optimize your strength and performance through the Microsoft stack. We use Azure, provide enterprise grade security. You can use the Azure single sign-on to lock down your security. And then also, as we know, Microsoft is heavily investing in AI. So we seamlessly integrate with that and allow you to take advantage of the investments they're making in AI, and we've started to weave that into our product as well. Just a little bit about how the data flows. So we're able to connect to your ERP, whether that's really BC or GP. We connect to all the Microsoft ERPs. Most commonly, we'll see it someone moving to BC. If you do happen to have another ERP or another data source, we can connect to that as well. And then we will bring those all into our data warehouse and normalize all that data so that it can be accessed by our various reporting tools. Okay, so we'll extract that data, we transform that data, and then we're going to automate a lot of your process. So we're mainly talking here about Report FYI, which is the MR-like replacement, but we also have a tool that can make your budgeting process easier, as well as the reporting on budget versus actuals, and then an analytics tool that provides visualizations and dashboards on those. All right. So with that, I'm sure you all would love to take a peek at the tool. I'm going to turn it over to Prescott, and we will go ahead and jump in and do a demo, and then we'll do some Q&A.
Thanks, Chris. As you can see here, these are going to be kind of the highlights of the demo. We're not going to get too far into the product, but I want to give you a high-level overview of what you can do and some of the improvements upon MR that we've made in our product. Chris, can you see my screen here? Are we good?
Yes, sir. Yep, we're
Awesome.
good.
Thank you. Okay. So this is an example of the viewer area. I'm going to go through all the reports here that I have planned to share, some of these 5 reports. What you can do in order to create a little more screen is close that area down. And you can expand here so you can see your tree. Collapse this top area, maybe zoom in a little bit so everyone on the call has a little bit better ability to see everything here. But this would be a viewer user ability. And you can see that I closed the repository that you had access to all your reports. Of course, you can come back to the repository by just clicking here and coming back in and accessing that report you need. And again, just collapsing it. And now the ability to expand my entire tree and see the tree. I can click through here and access the different levels of data that I want to see. So if I have a consolidated North America company, I'm able to consolidate and see the data in North America. Or I can get down to one of those costs or profit centers and see the actual data in the cost and profit centers here. Before I show you some of the other really great capabilities of a viewer user, I just want to show you some other examples of the reports that we have. We have a year-to-date report right here. We have a year-over-year report where we're able to divide certain lines by revenue. Or not just by revenue, by different dedicated lines in here. In this case, I'm only dividing everything by revenue. You can switch a report, so you can say, hey, I want to divide the revenue lines by revenue. I want to divide COGS by COGS and expenses by expenses. So you can get that percentage how you need to see it. You have the ability to do the variance reporting, and you have ability to do some of your entities or departments, your dimensions in columns here. And you're able to easily access a different way to view that data. Of course, these are just some examples. We can do a lot more examples if you have something specific. We'd love to hear from you and can talk you through on how you build that with our tool. But coming back to the trailing 12 months report, some of the functionality that our customers absolutely love is the ability to drill down. So let me go ahead and drill down into this trade shows line here. And just show you what happens when you drill down. What I really like about our software is it actually drills through the different levels of the tree. So if I open up the tree now, you can see that I've drilled through and I have access to see the difference between my next level in the tree here. And that just automatically comes with our reporting tool. You don't have to build out these extra reports. I'd like to equate it to free reports within our system here. I click into the North America. I see the breakout for corporate, Western Division, and Eastern Division now. I click into Western Division, and now I see the breakout between the profit centers. And then I finally can click into Denver, and that's when I start to get some detailed data. I get to see the natural account segment. I get to see the full segmentation. And then finally, I get to access that description level detail. So I'm able to then see what's behind that number. Of course, if I don't want to drill through all those levels, I can go straight to Denver, find that number in Denver, click on it, and I'm going to get more of that detailed access right away rather than clicking through the levels. So you do have the option to do both. Now, I have access to see the entire tree. What you can do is set up security. I'll show you that a little bit later. So you only see parts of the tree. And that's where our software becomes really valuable. You can get users this detailed information for only what they're supposed to see. A few of the other features that I think are really great about our product is the ability to comment on each individual line in the cloud. So a lot of times users are sending Excel templates back and forth, commenting on those Excel templates. And at a certain point, they don't know if A, the report is the most up-to-date report with the most up-to-date numbers, or B, if they're looking at the most up-to-date comments. So this functionality here allows you to actually come in here to the report and comment on the different lines. One thing you can do is directly contact someone and tag someone in your organization. So right now I can tag Chris and say, hey, looks like April was starting to trend downward. Maybe why were sales low in April? And now Chris is going to receive a notification that he has a comment in this report, and he's going to be able to come back in here and reply to this comment. Of course, you don't have to tag someone. You can just put a comment there too, and that will allow you to just have this comment on there. Some customers use it on variance reporting to just answer questions they know that they're going to get ahead of time, and other customers are typically using it in this way to have conversations in the cloud rather than having all these emails and Excel sheets go back and forth. Of course, working in the FP&A space in reporting for so long, I do know that everyone still loves getting the reports in Excel, so that is still an option here. Users can come in here and go ahead and choose how much detail they want. I'll go ahead and choose it all, and then choose the format option. Typically, we see customers use PDF, Excel with formulas most. We'll go ahead and export all the detail data here, just so you can have an idea of the level of detail that you can export to Excel. So now if I open this up, you will see the amount of detail that you can get in this report. You get all that level of detail that I clicked through before. So you're able to see that breakout. And then you get all these different tabs. So you can easily get your data to Excel or PDF and get all the way to that detailed data that I showed you, the trade shows down here. So you have the ability to get all that data in Excel, in PDF, and still have that feel that you're used to having. And I think one big difference between our software and MR was the formatting when you export it to Excel. Our formatting is really, really consistent with what you see in the product. All right, let's go ahead and show you a little bit more about the reporting. We go to the development of these reports. And we'll take a look at this section here. So we use the three main building blocks, just like you're used to in MR. We have a row definition, a column definition, and an organizational definition, or the organizational tree. And it's the combination of these three items that make up your report and tells our software how the report should be structured. What I like to compare this to is a football uniform. You have your helmet, your jersey, and your pants. If you swap out one of those, you get a different football uniform. You have your home uniform, your road uniform, alternate, throwback, and so on and so on. Well, it's the same case with reports. And if we go back here and open up the reports, you'll see that the only thing I changed in all of those reports was the column definition. So we have a year-to-date, we have a different column definition here, but we have the same row and organization definition on all of them. And why that is important is because of ease of maintenance. If we go into the row definition here, you'll see that we're able to easily update a row. For instance, if we have a new GL that needs to fall in the sales basic line, all I have to do is come in here and update the one row definition. I've now updated all 5 of my reports without having to go into 5 different reports. I've updated it in one singular row definition. So while we're here, I'm just going to point out a few things here. We have our row definition. As you can see, it's very similar to what you have in MR. So you're going to have that same feel that you'd have in MR. We have the column definitions, again, very similar to what you'd see in MR. Go to the trailing 12 months one, where we just use different functionality. And I think one of the things that we can again point out as a differentiator between MR and our software is you have the ability to actually preview what you see in here. So I think some versions of MR had the ability to preview, but some did not. But you can come into our product and preview this functionality so you can actually see what the formatting looks like. You don't have to submit the report and then wait for it to be finalized to see what the formatting looks like. you get to see this formatting right away. Now, these are dummy numbers. These aren't the real numbers, but you get to see the headers and make sure the headers are correct. Make sure that it's moving back over years like you expect it to, and make sure that your decimal places and just bolding and underscores are correct.
Hey, Prescott, real quick, we
Yeah.
had a question in the chat here. If you could possibly drill down in the reporting where you can see a copy of the invoice paid.
So right now we're looking into, we have the ability to do that with third-party invoicing systems. We're looking to see what we can do with Business Central. I think there are some other third-party products that some people use. So it really will depend on what you're using right now. That's a great question. Okay. So getting back to this, some of the other features I do want to show you are one of my favorite functionality in the software is this audit component tool. When I was a consultant, it seemed like every month I'd have one of my customers reach out to me. It's month-end close, their hair's on fire, and their P&L or their balance sheet's not matching their trial balance. And all they want to do is go home and have dinner with their family. They're already working long days, and they're stuck there looking for a needle in a haystack. This audit functionality allows us to see what accounts are being used twice. So 4200 on this row definition is being used twice. And then we're not using these accounts. So it tells you what's being not used and what's duplicated. If we take a look at this row definition, we'll see that 4200 is on row 30 and on row 75. And then we are missing 6103 and all those 6200 accounts. So it's a very valuable time-saving tool right here. And then let's go ahead and take a look at what I think is everyone's favorite functionality here is the trees. For my work in consulting, everyone misses their trees when they move to another reporting tool. We have them. And it really makes it easy to work with our software when you have these trees, because it'll do a couple things. First of all, you're going to be able to see the masking and you're going to know, hey, okay, so the correct data is going to the right report. We're able to mask it correctly. And then you're also able to set up the security really easily based on these distribution lists. And what I mean by that is we have distribution lists in our system. You will set them up at the beginning and you will then assign these distribution lists. There's going to be people behind these distribution lists. I'll show you that in a second. But you will then assign the distribution lists to each level of the tree. So in this case, we have the accounting exec team, and we have myself and the regional south manager on the Western division for some reason. I probably set this up when maybe it was a late night last night and didn't choose regional west division, west manager, but I think you get the idea. We have the south manager here and so the Western divisioner. We can actually easily change that by just doing this. Of course, we'll have to go ahead and add the different locations here again. So let me just show you how easy that is for a couple of them. We won't do all of them. You can see how easy it is just to set up that distribution list at each level of the tree. And behind each distribution list, we then have the ability to add users. So I'm going to go ahead and save that to those distribution lists. And if I say I wanted to add Chris to see only Denver for location 1, come in here and go ahead and add him for location 1. And now whenever I send the report out, he's going to only see Denver, location 1. And just to show you an example of the report that you can send out, you can customize the subject and the body. And actually, I have this one open. Let me just drag it over here. This is an example of a user that would only receive the Western division. And my screen is frozen. Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's everything I wanted to show you anyway, but it is frozen for me on the, there we go.
It's because I think it's because you got into Excel, right?
Yeah.
Try to keep people out of Excel. That's why.
It's memory intensive. There we go. Excel is memory intensive. There we go. So you can see this user only has the Western division. But I think with 5 minutes left, we'd like to open it up to any questions you might have. We can try to show you some features that you might be looking for. Otherwise, we'd love to talk to you further after the call.
Yeah, guys, we'll kind of open it up to you for questions. I'm going to throw a contact page here up on the screen so that you have our contact information. Of course, you can always get it from Turnkey as well. All right, we got some applause there. That was awesome. Any questions from the audience? All right. Yeah, I guess if there's no other questions, we'll drop. And yeah, we hope we had the chance to see if we're fit to help you. And appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your time.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, you. Have a good one, everyone.